We'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong. In every common
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are going to be playing with some silicone rubber today. Craftor has kindly sent me their newest product, and it is 15A silicone rubber. Now inside this box you get the little beads that I just showed. You get 8 ounces of part A, 8 ounces of part B. You get mixing sticks, little plastic mixing cups, some gloves, and the instructions. Now, we are going to make 2 different molds today. First, if you've watched a couple videos back, I had some little frog molds that I had previously made that had a wavy kind of surface on the top, so I want to remake that mold like I told you I wanted to do. And then I have these cute little ghosty guys that I figured I want to make a mold of because Halloween is right around the corner, even though it's doesn't seem like it should be. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, first things first, I am using, as opposed to what I did last time, was I used a cookie cutter for my mold housing, and then I put packaging tape on the bottom, and that's kind of why I got the waviness on the bottom, right? This time I'm going to use these plastic containers. Now I have previously made molds in them, and what I did was, because the bottom has all of it's got like a little dip in it, and then it has some other stuff on it, and I don't want that as part of the mold, so I want it flat. So I poured a little bit of resin in there, and this is what I have left from that. And then I'm going to use some very thin double-sided sticky tape and put on each one of these just to kind of keep them in place. We're going to put them down. Now, I did go over each one of these with some alcohol and a paper towel and cleaned them really good. And then I went over them again with a microfiber cloth just to do it again. When you are making a mold of something, if you've never made a mold before, you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're casting is super, super clean. So you don't want to do it with your bare hands. You want to use gloves to do it because you don't want your fingerprints to get on there. Much like resin picks up everything, so does silicone. So if you have any fingerprints, if there's any dust, if there's any issues or whatever in the actual item that you're casting, right? The silicone is going to pick that up, and that's going to be a problem in your molds later down the road. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So you do want to make sure that they are very clean. Now, the other thing that you want to do is know what type of silicone you are using. There are 2 different main types. There's platinum cured and there's tin cured. I personally have never worked with tin cured silicone before, but there are certain things that when they come into contact with the different silicones are going to, or could potentially cause silicone, like the cure inhibition, right? So like I found in the last mold that I made, that I used hot glue to glue down something, and it didn't like not cure the entire piece, but around that area where the silicone kind of seeped under the piece a little bit and touched it, it was very slimy and just gross, right? Because it had a reaction to the hot glue. Okay, so you do want to make sure that you know what you're working with and you know what you're doing, and that you clean your items very well and use gloves, even though, you know, it's typically most silicones are food grade, you know, safe, whatever, but wear your gloves anyway, just to protect the surface of whatever your master mold is, so that you don't get issues, because silicone's not cheap, let's be real. So we don't want to, you know, make molds and then have to keep remaking them because of something stupid happening. Okay, so I am making sure that I push down each one of these pieces really, really well so that they're stuck. Now, there is one frog that he just didn't want to be, he didn't want to be recreated, so he's not going to be. He just didn't want to stick no matter what I did, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, on to the silicone. Now, this particular silicone says that it can be measured, it's 1-to-1, and you can do it by weight or by volume. Now, it does recommend that you do it by weight, and typically part A is heavier than part B. So I always, no matter what it is, I put in my part B first and then add my part A on top of it. However, because I wanted to try it, because this is the first time I've ever seen that a silicone saying that you can do it 1-to-1 by volume, I wanted to see if it was going to work. So that is what I did. So I mixed up about 3 ounces of A, 3 ounces of part B, and I am slowing, as you can see. I'm not slowing. I'm stirring very slowly, as you can see. And I'm going to mix it for about 4-ish minutes. Okay? Now, at this point, if you want to add mica powder in it or whatever to color your molds, more power to you. Go for it. I personally would rather my molds be clear simply because this way I can see what I'm doing, right? I can see, especially on these frogs, I can see where the silicone's going. You can kind of see, or where the resin's going when I poured it in there. You can see if you have air bubbles that are trapped underneath the surface, stuff like that, where your problem areas may be, all of that good stuff. So I personally like to keep them clear, but that's a me thing. And of course, yeah, I thought I did so good. So good at almost measuring out the amount that I needed. But as per usual, I did not mix up enough, so I will quickly mix up some more. Now, I am going to say that because this is a new silicone and I've never tried it before, I wanted to put them to the test. So I did not run it through my bubble remover, which I typically do. I honestly, I did mix it up a lot faster than I should have. And a lot of that is because I wanted to see if this is going to be an issue. It says bubble free. So let's see if it actually is bubble free. So I made sure there were lots of bubbles in here. Let's put it to the test, right? Not everybody has a bubble remover. Not everybody has a mixing machine that's going to do it for you. So let's see how it works. Now I did pop a few surface bubbles just with my lighter. That's it. We're going to let this set off to the side and cure until the next day. Okay, so this is the next day now. Now I'm going to use a palette knife and I'm just going to kind of pull it away from the side a little bit just to break the seal all the way around. Now, if you're doing this with 15A, it's a much harder, durable silicone than anything lower than that. Then that's when you get into your more squishy, more flexible ones. You honestly don't want to do anything deeper than what I did. And honestly, it's probably a little bit too deep because you don't get the squish in there, and it can make your demolding it very hard. So know what you're using the silicone for. Make sure that you get the right one for whatever it is that you're making a mold of. This is going to be for something that's more on the flat side, like say, a cross or any of those flat molds that you get. You can very easily use the silicone for it because it's nothing that you actually have to like demold a 3D object. If you're looking into 3D objects that are much bigger than what I'm doing, then you need to go with a 10A or a 0A as far as your silicone, just to make life easier for you. But you do want to be careful when you go along the sides because you don't want to mess up the sides of your mold either. Now you can see I don't see any bubbles in this whatsoever. I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of these out. And then the only thing that I did notice, and I will make a comment, is this is the first time that I have used the plastic containers, poured the resin in the bottom, and then reused that resin again by setting it down there and recasting over it. That was a mistake because that seal got broken when I demolded the last item that I made a mold of. And so when I poured my silicone in there, it seeped underneath the resin like piece that I put in there to make it flat. And now my mold is not even. Okay. So it went in some, and it's just, I'll show you here later on when we take a closer look at it. And I did lose a lot of that silicone. So what could have happened is I may not have had enough to cover the top of my mold, like my actual master mold, and it could have ruined the whole thing because quite a bit did seep under there to the fact that I actually have to get my craft knife out and cut it out, you know? But it's a learning lesson. So my suggestion to you is if you do this method, which it does work and it works well, I highly recommend pouring fresh resin each time. And what you can do with the little pieces of resin that you have like left over is use it as like a lid for your silicone mold here, right? So you can just put it on top. It's going to keep it clean inside. It fits perfectly on there because that's how that's what it was made from. So it does work, and this way you're not wasting a bunch. You can use it, and then it's hard. It'll stack a little bit better, maybe. Anyway, it's just a suggestion. Gonna go through real quick and clean up with this cuticle cutter just around any rough edges, and then we are going to pour into these and see how it turned out, if we have any issues and whatever. Once you cast in it, it'll tell you if you have any problems and you have to recast it again. Now, my main worry is that because, especially on the frog, the amount of incline there is on the top of that mold on the surface from how it just leaked underneath the bottom. I am worried that I'm not going to be able to fill these up the whole way, that they may kind of just all run down in that direction. I don't know. We're going to find out here soon. But as for right now, I'm just going to finish cleaning these up, making them look pretty, and mix up some resin, and I'm going to bounce off, and I will be back when we are ready to pour our resin.
Sock into a bird with wings. A mop became a wig so bold. Who needs gold when you've got mold? Think it, make it, twist it, shape it. The world's a canvas, don't escape it. No need for rules, just rearrange it. Life's a game, go on and change it. I glued some spoons into a boat so fine.
Hey, I'm back. That was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so I just mixed up a little bit of Bond Craftor resin, just a couple of ounces. It's not going to take that much. These molds are not that big. And I decided that we're going to play with some glow powder. So we are going to use 5 different colors in the Let's Resin glow powder series, just because why not? So I've got my little cups here, and we are just going to take green, blue, purple. I think it's either the coral or the salmon one, and then like a blue green that's kind of white and then glows in a blue green. If that makes sense, because I can. And just, if you've not used glow powders before, they are not mica powders. They are glow powders. It is 2 totally different things, 2 totally different ways that it goes into your resin. You need to mix this up really, really well. You typically need to use, depending on the glow powder, a little bit more than you would say of mica to color it. And that is just because it does not absorb and kind of break down in the resin the same way that mica powder does. And if you are going to like mix it up and let it set for a while before you go to use it, I highly recommend you giving it another mix right before you pour, because it is heavier and it will settle kind of to the bottom sometimes. Now, some are better than others. I've not had any like horrible experiences with Let's Resin's brand, but I have with other brands, to the point that it is almost like putting sand in resin, and it like was just awful. This I've never had an issue with, but I would say as a kind of safe practice that you just mix it up if you have it, left setting around for a few minutes, just so that you get the full effect of the actual glowiness that you want. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it, right? So what I'm going to do is I am pouring just about halfway into the frog molds, and then I'm going to take my silicone tool and I'm going to shove it in there, especially in the head where the eyeballs are, because the last time that I cast this, I had colored it with, like, dusted it with chameleon powders, and I couldn't do that, and I did get a lot of air bubbles that were trapped in the little eye sockets. So I'm just going to take a minute, shove it in there really well so that I don't have any issues. And then after I'm done, I am going to finish filling this up. Now, I did spray it with a little bit of alcohol just to kind of help that and prevent some air bubbles. And then fill it up. Now, with handmade molds, because they are not factory made, they are not factory cut by a machine, right? They're cut by a person. A lot of times you do not want to dome them because they are not perfectly cut and you're just going to end up having to either trim or sand or whatever when you're done, right? Because the lines, you can do your best to make it as pretty as possible, but they're not always even because it's not being done by a factory. So there could be little chunks taken out here, there, around the edge of it. That's just, it is what it is when you're talking about a handmade mold. So don't dome them. Just kind of fill it right up to that line. And you can generally see where the excess silicone was trimmed off of to know kind of how high you need to fill it and all that good stuff. And then I'm just taking a moment and I'm going to overfill these so that I can spend more time pulling more out than what I put in because that's how I roll. And clean it off. And then we're going to fill up the ghost and we are going to see how these molds turned out. So at this point, I'm just going to, I guess, bounce off again real quick. And then I'll be back when we are ready to demold.
Gold when you've got mold. Think it, make it, twist it, shape it. The world's a canvas, don't escape it. No need for rules, just rearrange it. Life's a game, go on and change it. I glued some spoons into a boat so fine, sailed to sink, yeah, it's all mine. A teapot helmet kept me brave, the imagination's all I crave. Think it, make it, twist it, shape it. The world's a canvas, don't escape it. No need for rules, just rearrange it. Life's a game, go on and change it.
Okay, so I am just topping these guys off and then we are going to let them cure. Here we are, this is the next day. Now it's time to see how I did on these molds. Now, I didn't have any issues with the frogs except for the fact that they like to fly. As far as the frog mold goes, like it didn't run all over the place. I was able to fill them up. So even though it is massively uneven on the bottom, I guess it really doesn't make that much of a difference as far as how they turned out in the long run. I mean, they still have their feet and their toes and the things that they're supposed to have. So that's a plus. I guess this mold and I are just not supposed to get along real well, but it's fine. It'll be fine. They all turned out cute. I did get one bubble in one of the eyes, and that's it. And I mean, all in all, even though I did make a couple of mistakes making the molds, they turned out great. I didn't have any air bubbles. There's no issues with the actual mold itself. The ghost turned out super cute as well, which I'm super excited about. I think these are really, really, really cute. They do need a slight trimming on the bottom, but nothing too major. So at this point, now we are just going to fill in some of the details. Now with the frogs, because the details are so tiny, I'm just going to do one and that's it. But I will do all of the ghosts and that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to use some paint pens now. Oh, I guess I will talk about this for a minute. Now see how nicely they just fit on the top and then it protects it and you can stack them and it's great. So, I mean, at least it's not wasted resin, right? And you just have to kind of think about it beforehand when you're going to make a mold so that you're not ready to go and then you don't have the bottom part done. So it's fine. It'll be fine. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to glue it, but my thing was that if the silicone doesn't like hot glue, and the whole thing is you want it to be level. You don't want it to be uneven like I got with the frog mold. So if you put something under there to kind of secure that in place, it's adding to it, right? Because that is an exact copy. Like it's exactly fitting that bottom. So anything I add into that could hinder what I'm doing. So, I mean, honestly, it's just the tiniest bit of resin. We all have resin left over from our projects because if you're anything like me, you either mix up too much or not enough, and then you have to mix up more and then you have too much. So you're always going to have a little bit left over here or there that you can very easily take and add to the bottom of a plastic container to do this with and just have your mold housing, even ready for the next go. Just don't break that seal. I haven't found a way to not break the seal in demolding the actual mold itself, but I don't know. There could be a way. I haven't found it, but it's fine. It'll be fine. As far as putting on the details on this, the ghosts were fine. The frogs may have been better if I just took a paintbrush and some acrylic paint and did it that way as opposed to the marker. Because of how fine it is, I think I would have got better results. But it is what it is. I think they turned out cute. Silicone was great. I can't wait for Craftor to come out with some other variations of the sureness of the silicone. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment, right? You lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer.